Hello, my internet friends. Welcome to the Rigel Show. We are coming to you live from my Earth Dome. Some call it a dirt igloo. Others call it a mystical driftwood fort on the sandy beach of the cosmic navel, where song runs through all of reality. Okay, see where we're going today? Little gospel organ, okay? For those of you who are new, maybe you're on your own little piece of driftwood, looking for a place to build a driftwood fort with some friends. Maybe you've been lurking just out past the breaking waves. Maybe you're playing in the breaking waves, just pretending that you're totally content playing by yourself, but really deep down, you're like, I wouldn't mind if those people up on the beach just invite me to make some awesome driftwood forts together, maybe a sandcastle village with moats and sticks. Maybe we'd even create our own currency together, okay? Or maybe you're already up on the sandy beach of the cosmic navel where song runs through all reality. This is your invitation, okay? This is your invitation to come play, break the lurk, and click that link that I pinned in the post. Come play with us in this Theotokian riparian zone that seeks to integrate traditional values, modern values, progressive postmodern values, and that which is emerging on the bleeding edge of the noosphere, postmodern values. All you have to do is just click that link. Okay. And one last little piece about the cosmic navel. Here in the cosmic navel, we finger paint with light and dark. We smear together the pragmatic into the teleological, the absolute with the relative. We include joy and grief. And we offer it as a hallelujah, an offering of all of our pain and pleasure as a sacrifice of praise, okay? So today, in this cosmic navel, with one hand, I'm gonna bring my fingers to the screen. Wow, look at that. What's up, Daniel? OG Rose? We're going to bring in a version of Yoav from last week, who played the beautiful bass clarinet. He's going to join us on stage here in a second and just kind of kick off this breaking into the cosmic navel gazing session that we're about to do. All right, OG, not OG, I meant Yoav. Wow, that was a little slow. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that... I can't remember the lyrics. Amazing grace, how sweet, that saved a sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. I only know this verse, so I'm just going to sing it one more time. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. Hey Brian, College Station. Hey Daniel, Charles, Little Corner, Jasberg. Nice to see y'all. I'm just gonna do a little more kind of like, I don't know where I'm gonna go with this now. Was blind, but now I see. All right. Welcome to the Cosmic Navel, friends. We've got Daniel out there. We got Ethan, Brian. The floor is now open. I'm gonna bring my fingers off the stage. Thank you, Daniel. I'm gonna bring the old version of Yoav off the stage. What's up, Sam, Sherry? All right, y'all click that link because I've got nothing but, I mean, I can just start talking about updates of my life, okay? Which I will start doing if nobody shows up here in this room with me. Oh, fun thing. Some of you know that I have a 100 Days of Songwriting community that I have been, what's up, Sam? I'm just going to share a little bit about this 100 Days of Songwriting community, which I've been doing for the last 9 years. 100 Days of Songwriting, a gentle community, gentle accountability for, keeping that creative spark alive. Well, I am doing a major, kind of a major shift in the community. I am switching over from the Mighty Networks platform to Discord because it's just more stable and handles audio files better. But the real big shift is I am expanding the scope of what this community is about. It's not just going to be for songwriting. It's going to be for all creative adventures. So whatever your medium is, you can be part of it.
What about basketball?
Huh?
Hello?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Sam's, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you too.
Okay, good. So you said what about that?
I was trying to help your little promotion. What about poetry?
Yes. Oh, wow. Funny that you mentioned poetry. Absolutely. Poetry is welcome here. Okay.
What about writing novels?
Absolutely.
Are you
We're going to
saying
have
any
writers.
creative act?
Any creative. Yeah. Like
That's
maybe
I'm so-
you're a weaver. I don't know
okay.
anybody who does that, but if, you're a weaver out there, you could even be part of this community. Or maybe you're like oh whoa. Maybe you're a hymnographer. Okay. Maybe you found that inner psalm writer that's just ready to burst out. Okay. That's safe here.
Anything.
God is
Beautiful. In this
welcome
community.
in this creative community, which is, maybe fractally somehow tied to the creator that we are all made in the image of. Sam.
How do I find this community? Is it live in Discord yet? Is there a site
No,
I go to?
actually, you might be able to help me do some like testing once I do get things up and running. Like, I'm just going to be vulnerable and honest here for a second, Sam. I purchased a membership to ChatGPT. The like $20 a month that gives me, access to lots of different things. I was kind of riding the free wave for a long time, and I finally purchased ChatGPT, and I can now code. Actually, okay, I found out a new term. There's this term called vibes coding. My wife told me about this.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
said there's this like whole scene of vibe coders, which I am now part
yeah.
of this scene. I'm a vibe coder who
Welcome.
knows Python. I know Python. Like Neo in the Matrix.
Yes, that's
Um,
beautiful.
oh, thank you. I don't judge you, Rigel. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
You're
wow. Basket weaving. Yeah, keep those things coming. Okay? Keep them
anything.
coming. Anything.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm like in the process of making a bot that basically does a few things that simple things that are like surprisingly difficult to make happen on a website that will just be kind of built into the community now. So hopefully in
Sweet.
the next week or so, we will be ready for like testing and then a soft launch. Well, where'd you go, Daniel? There we go. Soft launch like middle of February, and then our next 100-day challenge. We have 200-day challenges a year. Our next 100-day challenge will be on March 7th.
Okay.
Daniel!
Cool.
Rigel, it's a pleasure, Sam.
Man.
Good to meet you. And I am a
Daniel.
huge fan of anything open mic-esque, and you rocked it opening there, right? That was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. So, man, that's like there should be like a law that says every like podcast conversation has to open with music. Otherwise, YouTube just kind of boots it out and says, "Sorry, you
Yeah.
didn't have the chords. Ain't gonna happen." So,
Ain't gonna happen.
very well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, what's yeah, go for it, Sam.
Oh, I was just gonna. I've just sort of taken for granted how privileged we are. That every stream I get Rigel's amazing music. So yeah, thank you for doing that.
Oh,
It's a joy.
It was very nice, Rigel. I enjoyed it very much. It took me back, so it was beautiful. And Rigel, so you're central, and Sam, good to meet you. Design for People, I see in the background. I believe in that. I'm a good friend with Thomas Jockin. We talk about all the time how the lack of design and brutalism has killed the human spirit, and that the spaces that you're in actually impact even what you're able to feel and experience. So I like that phrase, design for people. And Rigel, you clearly have a lot of experience making music and playing, so that was great.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I was 8, and I still do it like semi-professionally.
Really?
I've gone in and out of phases of being like, this is my main gig and not my main gig, but I still dabble
Good for you.
here and there.
Well, that's not easy to professionally play or perform or anything. There's a lot of pressure that can go into that. And then people come up and randomly ask, can you play this obscure 80s song? Surely you know this obscure 80s song. Can you play it on the fly in front of hundreds of people? Would that be cool? Could you do that? So, and since you were 8, that's crazy. That's good for you. Wow.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I feel like I plateaued when I was about 13, but, you know, I enjoy it. The thing is, I love it. And so that's like what really matters, I think, at this point in my life.
Well, first, if you plateau at the top of the mountain, you know, that's fine, you know, so that's cool. So first off, and to do it by 13, very nice, Rigel. Second, I'm actually amazed at how many people who start music at that age actually don't love it and don't play it anymore and give it up and aren't excited to hold spaces. So to be able to hold that love for so long, like, you know, we ran an open mic for a lot of years, 5, 6. We did it every Thursday at Unoya. We had people gather on Thursday. We'd have a meal. We called her Mama Jess. It would make a soup, or a church would come and make a meal, and then people would go up, and it was a lot of fun. And we had a band. So it was called the Dead Sea Squirrels. It was the Dead Sea Squirrels. Yeah. So we had a band, and we would go up, and it would open. Someone would come up and like play a chord, and we'd be like, okay, let's go. And we'd make up lyrics and play and different things. And we did that for years and years, and it was a ton of fun. But it was always interesting as well how many people you would find out who played music, and you'd invite to the open mic, and they'd be like, nah, I don't know. Because it actually, their association of playing music was piano lessons that made them miserable, hitting keys and getting it wrong, playing chopsticks and everyone thinking they're bad, and how they actually didn't want to be part of it, and how actually keeping that spirit alive. Because I also think about, like, when you have, like, I often think how many people have never had the experience of like a jam session or like an open mic where everyone in the audience is part of it. Like not just consuming a performance, but being caught up in a live performance. Like then you'd be there till 4 a.m. Like the difference between like listening to music and being in music. Like this like is and then once you see it, you don't unsee it, because once you know it's possible, then it's possible and you want to participate in it. Like that's a ministry, like to go around and like, our job is to go into this community and have people for maybe the first time in their life be in music, not just experience, not just consume music, be in art. That's like a really, really big deal. So I really believe in that. And I was thinking about that as you were playing and as you're doing this space.
You were preaching it, Daniel. You're like, everything you're saying is like, I've been trying to recreate this ever since my childhood. I mean, part of my experience was just being around fiddle tunes folk. And that's like built into doing music around the dinner table after dinner is like part of the digestive of life, you know? And like we don't do that around our dinner table. And I'm like, you know, an evangelist for this stuff. But I would love to somehow create a culture where music happens around that. Music is just something that's as natural as eating. So,
yeah, totally.
I'm with you.
Love it. I feel like sometimes these conversations become little mini conversational jam sessions, and like that's kind of the fun part of this. Where instead of you just like sitting back and consuming podcast after podcast or podcast, like like you actually get to jump in and riff a little bit, and it's a little more like kind of improvisational and fun.
Oh, I could not agree more, Sam. And in fact, in the same way that I think most people have never been in music, they've actually never been in a conversation. Actually, most conversations are based, you know, Neil Postman, it's basically an exchange of trivia question. What did you do today? Give me the answer. Yeah. What's your favorite thing? And actually, Neil Postman, and I know the great Anna Crawford, she's extraordinary, talking about education before and brought up Postman. And one of the things I've never forgotten is how Postman says we need to bring the medium as the message thinking of McLuhan to the classroom. We pay way too much attention to the content of the classroom and not how it as a medium communicates certain notions. And actually, when you do this, you basically take Marshall McLuhan and apply it to all spaces and architectures, the church, the school, etc. And the point he says is that what kids actually learn in the classroom as medium is that to be intelligent is to be good at trivia. Someone always knows the right answer. The one who's quickest is the smartest, and stuff like that. And you go, oh my gosh,
don't collaborate to get an answer. You got to like come up with it on your own.
On your own. So you get the myth of the individual genius and all that. That's exactly right. And for Postman, the subconscious associations are the most important thing that the school teaches, that we don't own. right? And so that medium kind of trains you. Well, that's just gone into conversation. People basically treat conversation according to the subconscious associations they have from the classroom. So I'm going to ask you questions about your job. I'm going to ask you about your plan, and I'm going to grade you and determine if you're practical or if you have a future, right?
Yes.
So they've never actually experienced the music of conversation, where you have no idea what you're going to talk about. Likewise, you have no idea what you're going to play in music, and 5 hours go by. And by the end of it, you're in a good mood versus feeling judged, because most people at the end of a conversation feel like they failed at life. So instead, you're like, oh my gosh, I actually want to see people. So the music, well, I always like, Lewis has, Aslan sings creation into being, same in Tolkien. Heidegger says that language comes from poetry, not poetry from language, that the musicality is first. And I actually think that is a really good way. And there's reason to think that, precisely because when you get the musicality of a space, the musicality of a conversation, you feel fully human. And if that is the case, that would function as sort of evidence to suggest that that actually is what language is supposed to be. Language was always supposed to be more music than it was informational. But we haven't had the space. Well, we've lost the spaces to do that. But one of the reasons I'm kind of bullish on this whole gathering, I'll talk about the social coordination mechanism versus the internet, just a gathering of content to consume, because it allows the coordination of people now to come together to make music to, Shari, it's so good to meet you. Oh my goodness. How are you? It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, same. It's been a long time coming.
Oh,
too long.
And it happened in the Cosmic Navel? Are you kidding me?
The place. Oh my goodness. Well, Shari, it's a delight. It's a delight to meet you.
And you just happen to be talking about my favorite subjects: language, music, the musicality of language, and origins, and all that stuff.
Oh, it is. Well, and the thing is, like, again, once you like, I always think about the idea, like, and Sherry, it's truly a delight. It's so good to see you, and thank you for being you. And I always just think about, like, once in your life had a conversation where you have that experience of self-forgetfulness, as Keller says, the kind of forgetting yourself, because the key to music is you find the mean, as Aristotle would say, between self-centered and self-degradation, right? Where you don't want to, like, you can do the same. It's like, no, I'm nothing. I don't matter. Well, you're actually still focused on yourself, right? Because you're talking about how bad you are. But in that conversation, there can be that loss in the other that creates a kind of flow, kind of self-forgetfulness.
But it can also be, don't you think? I'm trying to think of. I think it was Meditations on the Tarot, where Tomberg talked about a certain kind of pride that you're allowed to have, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, as a musician or any kind of person in the arts, you have to have a certain amount of pride. I don't know how else to put it, in your work, right? Which calls you up to a higher version of yourself, actually, right? So it's like there's always these two sides to the story, right?
Yeah, so, I call that the positive polarity, where you have, like, the way it translates to me is the term express self and sacrifice self. And how those two are both positives. They're both beautiful, but when you over-identify with one or the other, it becomes kind of pathological. But bringing them back together happens in this, like, I mean, in jazz, like on the stage, when people are improvising, there is this this synthesis of express self and sacrifice self. You play through the head. You play to the same tempo, the key, but then you break out and you make fun of each other musically, and you one-up each other, and you express yourself. And I think, like, yes, conversation is exactly the same way.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was this girl at the Southestuary that actually Nate Heil found on YouTube, and then they hired her for an event at a pub, which was just fantastic. And she was a little banjo player from the Appalachians, right? And I'm trying to think of her name. Her last name was Murphy, but I can't think of her first name. If anybody remembers, stick it in the comments. But this girl was just so, like, everything about her was outside of her, right? And some people might take offense with that. They might be like, but to me, when I saw her, all she wanted to do was integrate herself into her audience and have them be a part of her. That's what that is, you know? And so she was just all over them. Like she was all over the place and so relaxed and so, I don't know. I didn't even know it was beautiful. It was actually really beautiful just to watch her. Like her music was great. Her music was fantastic, but she was the show, you know?
I love all of that. And in fact, I couldn't agree more. For me, we are in a whole lot of philosophical and theological problems, like selfless versus selfless, pride, humility, because we've had the wrong standpoint by which to think of the questions. So for me, what I mean is I think basically creativity is central. Therefore, the epistemological standpoint by which to ask all questions should be from what I would call the phenomenology of the artist. Because if you ask it from the phenomenology of the guy sitting at their desk, they're going to talk about selfish versus selfless. Binary thinking is what happens when you do your work from a desk. But in art, the artist has the lived, vivid experience of how it's not a binary choice between excellence or a lack of excellence, selfless versus selfish. That actually in the creative act itself, you get more of the logic that I think is temporal, fuller, more embodied, more holistic, where you actually see that the choice to say, well, I'm not going to be excellent because I don't want to be prideful. Oh, but if you're not in a sense prideful on the beautiful, then that's a sin, right? There's a certain lack of pride in, Jesus, in the creative act that actually becomes a sin. But how do you make sense of that? Right? Because that doesn't say, well, wait a minute, I thought pride was bad. You can make sense of it in the standpoint of the phenomenology of the artist. You can make sense of it in that. But you see, the problem is, let's say you try to make sense of it from the standpoint of the economy. Well, your experience of work is one person is the CEO, other people are below them. You have more of an experience of a ladder, right? So it's harder to make sense of it. Now, I'm not saying that, that's necessarily bad in all circumstances, but the problem is your standpoint is more limited by which to think of these issues. But when you think of it from the place of the creative act or a conversation that's fuller, you say, no, actually that girl being excellent has like a sainthood to it. Oh, and you also see, and I think you're pointing to this, Sherry, that actually to shine, which is to me such a critical idea, you have to risk being accused of pride. You actually can't overcome pride unless you can be seen as prideful. Like, wasn't Jesus seen as prideful? Wasn't he seen as self-centered? And in some respects,
wasn't he the guy saying, who do you say that I am?
Yeah, right.
And Christ, he said, right.
And that's right. And so actually, in my opinion, the only way to truly glorify God necessarily has to appear in circumstances where you can be accused of not glorifying God, right? And so what can happen is people can moralize avoiding excellence as being holy precisely to avoid the tension of being mislabeled, right? And that actually is then pride. That actually is bad pride, right? That's versus the good pride. But you see, all of this, and I'll stop, but all of this is hard to make sense of if you're not thinking of it from the midst of the creative act, in the middle of the making of art, in the middle of creativity, which if we have a culture where people aren't playing music after dinner and they're not going into live music, then they don't have that experience to bring these seemingly contradictory tensions together into a harmony. And so the lack of the experience of art in that sense makes us incapable of even rightly approaching these issues that then if we can't rightly approach, we do in the back of our mind say, well, I shouldn't pursue excellence in the arts because that would be self-centered. I shouldn't do that. And then people don't. And they don't even realize the error of thinking that way because they haven't had these experiences of the arts to show that it's not an either or in that way. So the costs are high.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta tell my wife I'm quitting my job. So thanks, Daniel.
It was great to meet you, Sam. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Oh,
I just lost my train of thought there. I was shocked.
Well, yeah, no, there's so many bits I want to go back in and listen to what you just said. I want to clip this and give it, share it with my creativity community, because I think that's so one of the things that, it took me forever to get past that. As I kind of became a Christian later in life, and it took me like 10 years to work through, like, is playing the piano just prideful? And it's such a stupid, like, why did it took me 10 years at least to get past that. But some people, like, it would take a lifetime, and I'm glad I kind of find my way past that, but man,
I know what I was thinking about when you were talking, Jenna. I was thinking about the muse. Like, a lot of artists will attribute most of their genius to the muse, right? So it's almost a form of possession. Like, in my opinion, a true artist doesn't have a choice, right? And that's always where I see the false, the true and the false, manifesting. Not so much of what they say, but there is how do I put this? There's always seems to be an accompanying melancholy to the true artist that I haven't really figured out why that is. I'm nearing it as time goes on, because it has something to do with the idea of tears of joy and sorrow mingling, right? So it's a place of tension that has to be held in order for creativity to actually emerge out of it. And maybe you have thoughts.
I think that's a huge topic. So first off, a lot of what Eunoia, which we loosely translated from the Greek as beautiful thinking as a ministry, was focused on is basically rehabilitating artists who would come in and feel like playing piano was a sin and bringing attention to them, or they felt like they should write a novel and they had this force that was compelling them. But then they was like, well, what if it's a demon? And if I write a story and if it's not explicitly Christian, am I a bad Christian? And there is a whole lot of, in my opinion, potential for culture making in Christianity that is not unleashed because there are not ministries focused on this particular topic. There's a lovely book by a man named Steve Turner called Imagine that I think does a great job kind of working through some of this. Is just something off the top. Obviously, we have some of the great thinkers like Balthasar, who is trying to suggest that actually people are brought into the faith by beauty. Then they come into the theology, but beauty leads because you're attracted before you assent. I think that's really important. Berjayev, The Meaning of the Creative Act. One can go on, but I do suggest Imagine by Turner because it's 100 pages, but it really kind of covers a lot of great stuff. But there's an entire necessity of rehabilitation. But here's the issue. Because unfortunately, in my opinion, the artist often, the struggles of the artist are not necessarily prioritized. Now, I'm not saying every church, but they're not always prioritized in the church. Then there is not perhaps the ministry to know how to walk people through those. So then they are just left to quietly, individually on their own, wrestle with it. And some people will, for whatever reason, happen to come out of it. Other people will not. Who knows how much culture making possibility and shine and attraction is missed and lost because that's not there. Yeah,
you're putting words to something that I have felt at my own church. It's not just like the cultivation of the artist isn't there. It's like there's an active, like almost subconscious repression of that, and it's not conscious. So I don't think if people actually knew how that pressure was affecting everyone around them, they would maybe try to change things. But it takes an immense amount of effort to reach escape velocity to actually start something within a church environment where modern American Christianity is very much focused around kind of sacrifice for the community, and that's all amazing and good, but it's a little bit too far on the sacrifice self side of the positive polarity. And something I've talked about a little bit in the past is my little subversion to that was to create basically a talent show / show and tell at my church once a year, and then it turned into a fall festival with like, a little talent show, and people they're feeling it and seeing the opportunity for things to like really sparkle. So I'm hoping that maybe more ministries come out of this.
Rigel, do you think it also lays like the groundwork for common ground with people? You know, because everybody is creative. Okay.
Yes.
Everyone is creative, and they all feel separated from each other. These are my problems. I don't, and then they, it's a place where human beings can come in a creative space where they encounter the same obstacles, whether psychological or physical, that they're having in others, right? Like I know I go to farmers market sometimes and set up my spinning wheel, and I sell my wool and knitted stuff, and people say things to me like, oh, I tried this once. They get really personal. It's really interesting. Right away, I tried this once, but I couldn't understand it. And then it turns into, like in German, they would say Seelsorge, which means care for the soul, actually. Okay? Counseling. That's the word in German for counseling. Seelsorge. Care for the soul. And that's immediately how I would feel in these conversations with people. It was like they feel broken in a way because this didn't work for them. And they have this urge to be creative, right? And then we could talk about the need for mistakes, how it's important to make mistakes. Okay, like people think they can't make mistakes. We live in this world of perfectionism. It's just insane, and it's paralyzing everyone. Okay, so. No, you need to make mistakes because that's how you learn something, and blah, 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 whatever. There was a woman, I'll just close out with this. When I was learning how to spin, and I learned how to spin on YouTube by myself, okay? And the only way I could learn it is to try something and find out it wasn't exactly like the other person's. So then try it again and keep trying, right? And I found this one channel of this woman, and she's just crazy. Okay, she's get this, she's a hair model, and she married the son of some shampoo company. Actually, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Redken or something, some salon shampoo or something. And she's got a farm, and she's got alpacas and sheep, and she's really into wool, and she's got this really long hair. She's very beautiful. And everything that she's doing it in this haphazard way. She's not perfectionist, okay? She's like, oh, she's putting the dye in the pot. Oh, we're going to put some, oh, crap, I put too much. Oh, well, we'll just see what happens, And then she's got a picker. It's a tool for picking wool apart. And it's wicked, okay? It's got nails on the bottom, nails on the top, and they go through each other and they rip the wool into fluff. And she's hanging over this thing, and she's like, oh, by the way, don't do this with your hair hanging down like I am. Right? You could, oh, yeah. Anyway, and then she would spin stuff, and she'd say, joins are really easy. This was her approach. When your wool breaks, it's so easy to fix it. Look. And she throws her little bat down on that twisting yarn, and it grabs on, and off you go, And so nothing was scary. Nothing was hard. Everything was easy, and all her mistakes turned out beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, so a few things. First off, we kind of exist in a culture where we're led to believe mistake is bad, right? That mistake is not part of a process. If you get a mistake, you get an A minus and you got a single B plus on your report card. Now you'll never get into a good university. And in fact, one of the reasons why you have a lot of, as I understand it, I'm no expert, like you can have a lot of mental health problems in some of the elite universities is literally because of a lot of these people have quote unquote never failed. They've done everything in their power to not fail. And then for the first time in their life, they fail and it breaks them. They never develop anti-fragility, right? So we exist in a culture of avoiding mistake as much as possible to keep face, et cetera, so forth. When really in the creative act, you can find that it's not a mistake is not even a mistake in a sense, right? It's this contingent, like it would be a mistake. It's a weird thing that it's a mistake if you stop, if you give up, and then retrospectively it was a mistake. But actually, if you keep going, it's as if it always already never was, right?
It's a building block.
It's a building block. That's correct.
Beautiful. And
you have this unique experience of time. And I guess what I would note when I say so there's a few things because you also mentioned the muse.
Yeah.
So the experience, what is another long-standing debate in theology and philosophy? Free will versus determinism. Do you have free will? Do you not? Well, the artist, of course, knows it's both, right? Because you're taken over by something that's you and not you at the same time. Right. But here's also something extremely important why I want to emphasize phenomenology. It is one thing to hear what I just said. It is another thing to go into the creative act itself and experience it, because you don't get something that doesn't become full body. For you to say, oh, it's both. No, that's not going to change your life. You got to go experience it as both, right? And you see, also I emphasize phenomenology because we do have a problem where people may hear the artist and say, oh, you're talking about personal expression, building your own truth, creating something sort of like that's just you, right? Well, that leads to atomization and all sorts of trouble, right? And that's actually not taking enough analysis, I want to say, of the experience of creativity itself. Because if you really pay attention to what it's like, almost like a Cézanne, staring, if you really pay attention to what it's like to create something, when you're really taken up, it's you and not you at the same time. It's free will and determinism at the same time. It's also a mistake and not a mistake at the same time, depending what you choose to do next. You're in this unfolding condition that you are actively agentically part of, having to pay attention to. You're using your own personal experience, you're using memory, but then you're creating something new in the future. You're incorporating things from your life, but also things not part of your life. And it's all of those things all at the time. And it's a higher dimensional activity than a mere binary choice. Now, sometimes binary choices can be great if you're building a bridge, right? We want to have that engineering, right? The main thing I want to say is we don't have but the thing you were saying on crying is actually really important too. We are impoverished of an ecosystem of a variety of, I want to say, metaphoric framings by which to think of our situations. We don't have enough diversity. We either have too much on the side of machine binary thinking that can be very useful in certain circumstances, or too much on, yes or no trivia, and not enough, say, temporal or creativity. And whenever you're impoverished on options of ways to approach things, the probability of ending up in trouble is much higher. But here's the issue. If you have options of frameworks by which to approach situations, you as the person have to stand in and accurately discern which framework to use when. And that can be hard. And without a community, it's hard to organize that. And also there's an involvement of choice that's like, how do I even begin to figure out how to discern what framework is best at what time, right? Well, you got to build capacity. You got to learn. You got to meet people. You got to really live. You got to really, really live and build that. I'll stop. You have to build up that Bergsonian intuition. You have to build up that Simone Bay attention. You've got to build up these non-rational capacities that afford the fullness of rationality when worked in concert with. But this gets into stuff like the Bergsonian intuition and what does that mean? But I think art gets at it, but I'll stop.
Yeah. I just wanted to, the reason I tagged this post, I don't feel like a creative type from Smith History, is like, this is something I've seen throughout my life just break people. And then I see it in this creative community and would love to hear you. I feel like we're actually already kind of answering that, but feel free to riff off of that, because I think that's a real honest an honest problem that I appreciate you, Smith History, bringing into the conversation.
Well, I can relate to that, but I just want to say this really quick before I forget it. When I first got into the online community, because I lived a pretty solitary life, mostly with animals and a husband who doesn't talk much. So this is my outlet, right? And anyway, I used to say things like, nothing is what it seems. That was my, because this is my entry into social media. I never used social media before until I got into the corner, right? And I didn't know how to say anything. And then the other thing I used to say all the time was, you have to want to know what you don't want to know, right? And that goes to the whole making mistakes. If you're seeking that thing that you want to know, but you don't want to make mistakes, right? So how far do you want to go into that place of vulnerability? Because that's really where you end up, is feeling bad about yourself. Right? And so do you want to continue to explore that? Because every fairy tale has a deep, dark woods, my friends. And that's what that is, right? That's you going into you and finding out how, I don't know, uneducated you are, illiterate you are, how inarticulate you are, how whatever it might be, right? And then going back to that comment that you highlighted, I never thought I was creative. I don't know why. I have a sister, and she's very extroverted. I'm introverted, okay? And we're like twins, so we're almost like mirror images of each other, in a way. And she's 2 years younger than me. And so she's out there, singing and dancing and, doing ventriloquism. And she's really out there, right? And I thought that was what creativity was. I'm hunched over writing poetry ever since I could write, and doing other things, for mostly, I would say my creative outlet was writing poetry. And then I went through a very difficult time, and I had a dream, and I don't know if I already told you this, Rigel, but I've mentioned this before, but I'll just keep it brief. I had a dream that I was sitting in a house in a very surreal landscape, and all around it was desolation, and the house itself was very plain brown, okay? And I'm sitting in this house, and I know that underneath the house, there's all kinds of people who are dead, and they're buried under it. And they're not threatening to me. They're not scary. It's not like, a creepy horror film or anything. And I'm depressed, and I've got all the curtains closed. It's kind of dark, even though it's daytime. And then in the evening, all these dead people float up from underneath this house, and they're all wearing, the men are wearing suits, the women are wearing skirts and blouses, and, all buttoned up and, very proper. And they're also wearing beige and brown and like no color, right? And they're cleaning my house with toothbrushes. Okay, so they're just going to town. And I want them to leave. They're driving me insane. I just want them out. And then all of a sudden one of them comes up to me and says, you need to go down into the basement and fix this broken pipe. It's leaking water down there. And it's a crawl space. So I go into this crawl space, and it's dark, it's damp, it's musty smelling. And it's about 4 feet tall. And I discover this little man down there. Okay. And he's 4 feet tall, literally. And he's colorful. He's covered in beautiful clothing with all kinds of textures, velvets and brocades, and and he's wearing a cap. I remember then the cap was like a patchwork of all different fabrics and colors and silks and satins and and I was just like, who are you? And he said, I'm Picasso, Sherry. And he reached out, he goes, dance with me. And I grabbed his hand, and he turned to ash. And that was my dream. And that was the first little nudge that by my own subconscious that I had been keeping my creativity in the basement, right? Anyway, and then, there's a longer story behind that. But in the end, I started to divide my time 50-50 between my conscientiousness and my openness to experience, my creativity. And it was the first time in my life that I actually felt balanced. I always felt imbalanced, that something was missing. So, and I'm saying all this because I don't feel creative of that comment. I never felt like I had some weird knowledge, which was not true, in my head that I wasn't creative, but I was.
Yeah.
I had to discover it.
Yeah.
And it got so bad that my own brain, myself, just, had to help me with it. Dan Whelan.
Dan.
Greetings, friends.
Yoav. I want to welcome Yoav and Dan to the stage. Yoav was here first. Yoav, did you see our little duet in the beginning of the show?
Yeah, I just popped in, and of course I went to check it, and thank you very much. Just my dream come true to find a band to join.
Well, you happen to play it in B flat, which is probably the natural key of that instrument, and that's like my gospel, bluesy gospel key. So it worked out perfect. So thank you.
Yeah, most clarinets are in B flat nowadays.
Yeah, it's the band.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that. So anyway, we have this clash of appointments. Usually I can only come late in the show, so I find it a bit hard to integrate.
That's okay. Any
Dan has a guitar.
I got one. I got a bunch of guitars, actually.
Nice.
Too many.
Well, what's bubbling up for you, Dan?
Well, a lot of things here and there in this conversation, but mainly I just wanted to be in striking distance because I knew there's going to be that moment where I want to say something. So I was getting optimal stance to use Vervakian language.
You're feeling the crescendo.
Yeah, because when the muse comes around, that's not the time to figure out your camera's not working. Okay, it's not.
100%.
Yes. Oh my God, that is the biggest killer of the muse, right there.
And you have inspired me last week with his. Was it a Barry sax? What were you playing last week? It's the Barry.
Yeah,
it was not a small sax.
That's a bass clarinet.
Oh, it was a bass clarinet. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe today I would play something.
Oh, go. Do it.
Please.
Now?
Yes.
Okay. Go for
yes.
it. All right. Yikers. All right.
Let's do a little sound check and make sure that we have the proper mic settings. Right now you have echo cancellation. I'm going to turn off your echo cancellation and everyone mute yourself and we should be good, okay? I'm going to turn that off. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me, whoa. We're just doing mic check. You keep playing around. I'm going to adjust your volume. Keep playing. All right, go for it.
Are you ready? Let me I'll pull up some lyrics here. Can you still see me? I clicked off the screen so I could see the lyrics.
Yeah, I may even kind of highlight you. I'm just going to play around with this.
Oh, gosh. All right.
Come on.
All right. Make sure I can see this. All right, here we go. Along about 1825, I left Tennessee very much alive. I never would have got through the Arkansas mud if I hadn't been riding on the Tennessee stud. I had some trouble with my sweetheart's paw. One of her brothers was about outlaw. I sent her a letter by my Uncle Fudd, and I rode away on the Tennessee stud. We We drifted on down into no man's land. We crossed that river called the Rio Grande. I raced my horse with the Spaniard's bowl till I got me a skin full of silver and gold. Me and the gambler, we couldn't agree. We got in a fight over Tennessee. We jerked our guns and he fell with a thud, and I rode away on the Tennessee stud. The Tennessee stud was long and lean, the color of the sun, and his eyes were green. He had the nerve and he had the blood, and there never was a horse like the Tennessee stud. I got just lonesome as a man can be, dreaming of my girl in Tennessee. The Tennessee stud's green eyes turned blue, 'cause he was a-dreaming of a sweetheart too. We loped right back across Arkansas. I whooped her brother and I whooped her paw. I found that girl with the golden hair, and she was riding on a Tennessee mare. The Tennessee stud was long and lean, the color of the sun, and his eyes were green. He had the nerve and he had the blood, and there never was a horse like a Tennessee stud. Stirrup to stirrup and side by side, we crossed the mountains and the valleys wide. We came to Big Muddy, then we forded the flood on the Tennessee mare and the Tennessee stud. Pretty little baby on the cabin floor, a little horse colt playing around the door. I love that girl with the golden hair, and the Tennessee stud loves a Tennessee mare. Tennessee stud was long and lean, the color of the sun, and his eyes were green. He had the nerve and he had the blood, and there never was a horse like the Tennessee stud. There we go.
Woo! Dang it! Dan, you have such a dang strong voice and guitar skills. Holy cow.
Oh, you're kind. Thank you.
Gorgeous. I love that song.
That was wonderful, Dan.
I also really like that song, and I was having some bad feelings and negative energy this week, and I was like, I gotta play something fun, and that was the one.
Well, it's time
it never lets me down. I love that song.
And you know what, Dan? Cosmic Navel will hold that for you. Okay? That'll hold out for you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Just a technical thing, Dan. Your guitar was cutting out a bit. And so what I'm guessing is, we got to figure this out because we got to do a TLC open mic. So my question is, do you know what microphone you're using right now?
I can show it to you. Yes. I believe it is called the Bigfoot.
Oh, Bigfoot. So that shouldn't have any, I wonder if there's some built-in, echo cancellation stuff built into that microphone. Is it like a USB microphone?
Yeah, all I know of that it has is a polar pattern you could select. It has gain and it has a mute button.
Okay, I'm gonna do one more thing that I want you to walk through with me. Sorry, this is technical, but this is important because we gotta figure this out. So go to your settings, the little gear down at
my flow state is impenetrable, by the way, so we can.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, go to the settings. Down.
Okay.
There's a little gear icon and click audio.
This is on a Mac you're talking about?
Yeah. So down at the bottom, there's that little gear icon.
You mean StreamYard? Or what?
Yeah, you see the gear icon, and then you have general, camera, and then audio. Do you see that?
Is this within the Finder?
This is within the StreamYard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking in the wrong place. Okay, so we're in StreamYard.
StreamYard.
I got you. Now I'm on the gear.
Gear, and then go down to audio.
Okay. Yep, there's an echo cancellation. It is unchecked.
And then what about reduce mic background noise?
That is also unchecked, but it says browser not supported for background noise removal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then do you have stereo audio as well?
Yes, it is also unchecked but uncheckable.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So I don't know. Probably something on my end.
okay. Well, we'll diagnose that later, but I want
All
to
right.
I want to hear both your voice and guitar with all its glory. So we'll figure that
Yeah.
out later together. Sam, you're back. Daniel, Sherry, Yoav, any other thing that's like kind of popping up?
Hey, I'm back. Now that we're doing music, I'm not really sure I'm set up for it, but I thought I'd try one of my songs.
Yeah. Do you want to show your face to the whole world?
I do. I was just kind of moving around to get to my piano, so.
Oh, it's dang sweet. Okay, I'm going to try checking your piano settings and see if, I'm going to turn off echo canceling for you. I'm going to turn off automatic adjust volume and turn that baby up. And I'll just be kind of like riding that volume, get the best sound out as we can.
Okay,
Hey,
well,
Sam?
while Sam's setting up there, I just have to recommend Heavy Things Lightly did an interview recently with Marshall McLuhan's grandson. Daniel,
cool.
I think you should watch it. I think you would love it, Rigel.
Yes.
We talk about rap as a kind of oral storytelling, oral poetry.
Yes.
They talk about the difference between eyes and ears.
Oh my gosh. I
things
have
like
thoughts
that.
on that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to recommend that.
I mean, here's my quick thought while Sam's getting set up. My kind of intuition about eyes and ears is eyes are like a unidirectional aspect of our humanity, and ears are an omnidirectional,
That's
and
what they
we are synthesizing them within our body.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay.
I
yeah,
was
go for
just,
it, Daniel.
just very quickly. My wife has been doing readings and talks on a book called For the Individual Saying That No One's Creative, and I love what Sherry was saying. The Artist's Way by Cameron. It's an older book, but
Yeah.
there's some lovely practices in that.
Yeah.
And just as a and Dan, that was awesome. So
thank you.
very nicely done, sir. And I love the playing that you did, that Rigel played over. That was delightful. So, but yeah, one of the things too is a good starting point, I think, can be what is something that you really want to do, but you keep coming up with a lot of reasons not to do it, and that people are kind of like is silly or whatever. Even just like one small step in the direction of that. Say, just like, let's say it's something like you go, I really feel like I need to write more. I'll just use that example. And you go, well, nobody's going to read it. And what do I even have to say? And who am I even to write
That's me.
something? Just write tomorrow morning, just write one sentence. And maybe you write the sentence, I have no idea what to write. Okay, you did that. And then the next day, try 2 sentences. Like making little decisions like that allow yourself to do things even if they can't be explained. Now, there's, of course, pitfalls, of course, but if just as a general rule, that I find the muscle of the willingness to do that increases the probability of the sudden insight that you have.
Yes.
Because like there's always, and actually there's a lecture that everyone needs to go see called I think it's called The Experience of Meaning by James Wigley. This lecture is invaluable, and her thinking is invaluable because she really wants to emphasize the loss of insight, and she's amazing. I really like James Wigley, but she talks about the insight that tends to grab you and you go from there. But then the question becomes, how do you have insight, right? Well, there's a certain, the wind blows and goes as it will, and you don't have complete control over that, of course. But there's also something to say that you can increase the conditions of possibility for that possibility to occur by if you actually allow yourself to do those little things that, you come up with a million reasons not to do, or also to, I think you become creative. Another key way to become creative, in my opinion, is to face fears. Even in things that seem to have nothing to do with art, actually.
Deep, dark forest.
That's right. So facing fears. And also with that, the caveat is learning to discern the difference between being wise and facing fears. As a metaphoric example, if you look outside and you see a lion, it would be stupid to go outside because lions kill you, right? So it would be wise not to go outside. But if you look outside and you don't see a lion and you go, but what if there's a lion? Maybe there's a lion. Well, now you're in fear, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the realm of hypotheticals, right? There is some mysterious relationship between facing fears and the possibility of insight, of which then drives the creative act, that then if you're in the practice of letting yourself do the small decisions that you always come up with a million reasons not to, like writing those things, you put all those things together, and now you begin to start seeing actually this mysterious thing occur that some people call creativity. So those three things, I think, there's more to be said, but that was coming to me.
You know what? I wrote something about that not too long ago, and I just found it the other day. I forgot I'd written it. It's not very good, but I'll just read it anyways because I'm trying not to be afraid.
Excellent.
You're not on this channel. You're not allowed to pre-qualify something as not being very good. Come on.
Okay. Follow the flow of lines. Do not be afraid of what you barely glimpse, of what you cannot hold, of what you are full of. See where it leads you, from heights into depths, from glory into horror, from nowhere to repentance. Do not be afraid of revelation. Is it not that which in your naivety you always wished for? A second coming, an apocalypse? Time is eclipsed in the here and now. There cannot be a future or past. You are becoming, coming into being.
So good. Dang it, Sherry.
Sherry.
Daniel, what you were talking about, facing your fears, like, and the community that I've been running, like, it's all about basically creating a first step for yourself that isn't such a big step that you can't do it, but finding like whatever that first step is, it's like within reach, exactly, but also like hard.
Exactly.
And one of the ways we do that is at the beginning of every 100 days, we talk about like what we want our daily rule to be. And everyone's rule is different, but the idea is to try to do something you can do for 100 days. There's only a few people who have actually made it 100 days, but the idea is to just try, every day. And if you like, for some people, and the community has been primarily songwriting for the last 8 years, but we're broadening the scope to all creators now. But for me, like my first baby step was to either write like 4 bars of music or a stanza of lyrics. And it turns out that was like too much, because I could get lost in the black hole of perfectionism too quickly. And so I gave myself a time limit of 20 minutes to work on anything that fit into what I defined as songwriting, which was like, it could be just free writing, morning pages type stuff in the way of the artist, or, I have some songwriting exercises that I can just do on the drop of a hat and are fun and like get me out of paralysis. Mm-hmm. But anyways, excellent. You're like, I'm just saying you're preaching to the choir.
You got to teach us some of these little tricks that you got to use.
Yeah.
You got to share those. Like,
yeah,
we could do it.
That's a great idea. We could like do it together.
Yeah.
That's
How
great.
fun. Okay. I feel like Sam's getting set up there.
Look at that.
With his family. This is beautiful.
Aww.
Sam.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, here. I'm going to adjust your things.
Let's see.
Yeah, I got you.
You got it.
I'm turning it up. Now sing a little while you're...
Hello, test.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay, ready. This is all those things you were just saying, Daniel. That was a perfect lead up into being like, okay, let's go for it.
Wait. One more thing. Sam, can you bring your microphone just a little bit closer up to your voice, just so you have a little more mix of... Oh, that's...
Better?
I think so, yeah, maybe.
Good? Okay. Orphaned by emotion, we had our Bibles and beliefs, and the parents of our parents, we only knew their fading leaf. Yeah, we soldiered on and pioneered some American expense. Instead of hope, what found us was only fickle, worked up years and the sorrow of our sighings. We drowned in bowls of gin, but our eyes glittered with sightings of the proud American. Free and brave, we all called it, as we sang Amazing Grace. And we never knew what stalled it as we languished in decay. But the Bible kept us soaring with the dreams of by and by. Soaked in the rainfall pouring, baptized by the riverside. And though Jordan no more opens, though justice flows not down, though blind we all are groping, though crawling in the ground, there's a light dawning, resting o'er Mount Zion's peak. There's a city garden drawing, all those who blind still see. And the eye's good for nothing, except for seeing all that's not in Mount Zion's light or something, foreseeing what they ought, and the beholding is the coming, and the beauty blesses all who astonished at the stunning, down to their knees they fall. And the world is all ablaze now with the glory of the King, over seas and over clouds, His glory covers everything. And the church bells are all ringing, for they cannot help but sing, for the light of the clouds are bringing the great maker of everything. And the fish are all laughing, and the fairies flutter by, and the otters are all having a slice of peanut butter pie. And the lion and the lamb are elevating to the right. Oh, the creatures of the I Am, presenting quite the sight. And we all hold hands together, kiss like Eskimos, and we lift our hearts forever at the passing of the woes. For the King of Kings has done it, He's conquered every foe. He played the game and won it, He made blessing every woe. And the crown of thorns He wore were the groanings of all things, every sorrow, sigh, and sore, all our tragic sufferings. Now the moment is upon us, what we've all been waiting for. Enter into His promise, enter in through His door. Now the moment is upon us, what we've all been waiting for. Enter in to His promise, enter in through His door.
Woo! Sam! What? Where did you come from?
Nice, Sam.
Man, I just want to savor your right hand, left hand syncopation. Like you were making that piano sing.
You were.
You're making that piano sing. Like I can tell you're having fun with that. Okay? So that is brilliant.
That was
So
great,
good.
Sam.
Thank you all for being
Still
here.
reaping goosebumps, Sam. Really good.
What's the name of the song again, Sam?
It's called, well, I call it, I'm still start working, this American Experience of God, or Father to the Fatherless.
Dude.
Sweet.
Who wrote American Pie? Because that's who you reminded me of when you were playing that.
No Googling. No Googling. We have to just come up, just make your best case.
That's it.
Story. This is story time.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
Bob Dylan wrote it.
Something Mick.
Mick. It's a Mick in it, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, McCarthy. No.
I didn't know it.
American Pie. My grandmother? Was it my grandmother? She made an amazing apple pie. So, is that it? Yeah.
I think YouTube just downgraded our channel when I said no Googling it. It's yeah. We just lost some subscribers. They're like, nope, that's not going to happen here in the algo.
It's like it all starts glitching.
Yeah, it starts glitching.
You can always bend the knee, Rigel. You can always bend the knee.
Oh, so good. Okay, so this is so freaking fantastic. I was not expecting more musicians just come out of the woodwork, rocking out in front of everyone, coming out of the lurk. Okay, that's the beauty of this whole TLC experience. Is it's just like this gradient of like moving from like not commenting into the comments, and then coming from the comments into, you know, in-person virtual, and then we end up actually meeting each other in real life. I mean, me and freaking Sam shared a hotel room. Strangers on the internet.
Yep.
Me and Dan.
Yep.
Still got to meet Sherry in person.
That's coming.
It's coming. But okay, so practically speaking, I think we need to start talking about a open mic show and tell sort of thing for this spring. And I'd be curious if anybody has any thoughts on that. I mean, we'd have to figure out the who, what, when, where, why, how. And just want to kind of throw that out there. Any initial thoughts? Is this something we want to do?
Super fun.
I want to do it.
Okay.
I'm all about open mics. Open mics are great.
Yeah.
I know. I might be recruiting you to MC.
Oh my.
Lots of fun. Would you want to do this in person, like live, a space, building, online? What would you think?
I mean, so what we've done in the past is, we've done one so far, like a TLC open mic, and we did it here in StreamYard.
Nice.
And I like even upgraded my StreamYard for the month so I could have access to more of the tools. But yeah, I would do that again if we picked a date, and I'd even be willing to like Dan, if you wanted to kind of hash out how to just make sure your sound is as good as possible, I'd be happy to meet with anybody to get the sound right, because that's the trick with doing online open mic stuff. Is
you also did videos. People sent you videos too if they couldn't attend.
That's true. Yeah.
Which is great. You know,
we had people send videos.
Yeah.
So that's another
idea. But I love the idea of doing it in person too, though, because I've done some writing retreats in person, and they're really special.
Yeah.
And I think inevitably something is lost over StreamYard. And it's way better than nothing, like 1,000 times better than nothing. But just to kind of like put that bug in your ear that I wouldn't be opposed to an in-person event.
Well, I have been shoving around the idea of like a writer's retreat, of some kind of creative retreat on my farm for 5 years. But I just didn't know if anybody would be interested. And it has to be kind of a handful, because they just don't have the accommodations for like a large group. Yeah. And I'm 50 kilometers from the city. So, I mean, if you got a venue, it's not the same, in my opinion. I think people have to be kind of immersed in where I am in order to really, be inspired, let's say, something like that. But yeah, I've thought about that for a long time, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about, this could be actually a short-term goal for me. Paul Vanderklay, Bishop Paul, pray to God for us. He will be coming to Austin to speak to our church. Not sure about what yet, but he's coming. And I'm thinking, well, there are some Texans who definitely want to see him, and we're probably going to do Texans and Texas adjacent, which is really the entire world.
Like
okay. So I'm thinking we'll at least do some sort of like estuary potluck thing, but I could see it turning into maybe an open mic style show and tell, bring out your creative spark, you know? So that could be a way to kind of spice up the get together. Oh, just thinking out loud here. Go for it, Daniel.
Well, so there's a few things. First, writers' retreats, spaces are a lot of fun. We have a group. We've done it for a number of years, kind of artist retreats on the fun. Those are very, very special with Latasha and Ty filmmakers. Certainly, an in-person open mic can be a lot of fun. You could also have something, because I do think for me, the entire power of the social coordination mechanism, again, which is a fancy way to talk about the internet, but this unique way of using Zoom, live recordings, posting, the key is it actually allows the possibility of this feedback loop between the online and the real that is able to make up coordination problems that for most of history were not solvable. Now that's a giant thing, and that's why I think this technology is actually paradigm shifting, because it allows actually the flow of human interaction at a rate and at a scale and at a diversity and at a uniqueness that before was not possible. Now, the implications for that socioeconomically, I think, are massive. Now, that all said, then actually having like every 2 months or 3 months, a open mic that's on StreamYard, and twice a year in real life. You could also see open mics that one time you can even have thematics, you can have things like this one, all songs have to be written by the people themselves. The next one, it all has to be tracks from the 80s. We had ones that were just poetry, just writing, different things like that. You can see those kind of different structures. This is going to be just poetry night. This is going to just be short story. You can see those different things. I think, you would have to have certain requirements probably. Like your mic has to at least be this quality, because that's always a problem. You've got to, before you come in, you figure out what are the most common setting problems, echo cancellation. Very often, if you use Zoom, you have that background noise setting. So you figure out all the settings that people are most likely not to realize they need to adjust before they come in. So that's all taken care of. And then you get that sort of smoothness, because there was nothing worse than when we ran open mics, when you had those awkward 15 to 20 minutes where some setting was not correct, and you remind people that there's coffee and cookies over there as you wait, and they go pass that out the door. So, that's no fun. We actually made a coffee table out of an old piano. You can always get free old pianos that people are throwing out. You just gut the center and make it's like one of the coolest tables you can get is an old piano. So highly suggested.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. In regard to like I do think more and more we're going to see people using the social coordination mechanism to make on-the-ground networks of live facilities that actually will be available. And so I would look at also, if not this year, to think about, okay, how can we begin setting up a kind of, I want to say network or a centralized information where we say, okay, we know we have this space available in Texas, this space available in Virginia, this space, and those things are kind of available. And you could also do something where instead of, say, having everyone on the East Coast come to North Carolina, that there are 6 locations on the East Coast, and you all have open mics the same night at the same time, and everyone posts them online. So even though, because in that way you have this feeling of a communal feeling, and not necessarily having everyone have to drive, say, to North Carolina. So I also see that sort of like shared solidarity at the same time in multiple locations actually being a very powerful thing that you could do. And you have twice a year or once a year where there are 20 or so TLC open mics coordinated by different people like estuaries that are all happening at the same time, that as you were located in your particular venue in North Carolina or whatever, you would know at the same time this was happening in different places. And I could see that being a very powerful sort of effect, and bringing together the cosmolocal, as my beloved Michelle Bowens would say. So those things come to mind. I would advise, if you serve a meal before, we always found soup was great because you could serve a lot of soup for a lot of people, and you have paper bowls, so you don't have as much trash. That was good. You can get some really nice paper plates that look fancy, or you can have everyone bring their own bowl that they take home. That's kind of cute. It goes against sanitation laws, but if you don't tell anyone, it's fine. So there's stuff like that you can do as well.
I love that. I mean, I really like that idea of coordinating with other people. I mean, because as this grows and kind of scales, like there's only so many people that can actually even come online and fit into a 2-hour segment. And so actually breaking out into, in person may be what we need to do anyways.
Rigel, I know you're a creative juggernaut, and while we're planting seeds and giving you homework, I would love to see you do a little welding thing.
Oh yeah,
because I would like to learn some basic welding, and I know that you always bring the fun to the fundamentals.
Yes. Oh my god!
And, I think that would be a really, really cool thing for you.
Nice.
But for me,
I have an old dump on my property that is absolutely like probably 2 stories high with scrap metal in it.
Oh my god! It's like a dream, and especially
like a tower to heaven with it.
That.
And I was like, oh, Rigel would love this.
Oh my god, yeah. Like that type of scrap metal is the best too, because it's been rusted. It's from an era where they actually made things out of metal that were beautiful, and yeah. I just need to bring my trailer up to
old
Canada.
washer. My husband, we dragged an old ringer washer out of it.
Yeah.
And somebody shot it up because I live in redneck country, right?
Yeah.
So it's got all these really nice bullet holes in it, and he's revamping it into a barbecue.
Nice.
He's turning it into a barbecue, and it's got great ventilation, right? All the bullet holes.
Yes.
And you know how they had the roller arm, the swing, the rollers on the ringer washer were on an arm. So there's a mechanism there for the grill.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Okay, I feel like we have a good first foot forward on this. I have to sign off in 3 minutes. Is there any dates, times, days of week? I mean, I was thinking of evening Central Time, like we did last time.
Solstice. Solstice.
When is that? You are allowed to Google now.
21st. Go back up.
Summer solstice. It's about the 21st of June, I think, right?
Yeah, but no, I'm thinking of a spring, something in the spring.
That is spring, isn't that?
June is still spring? I was thinking something like, okay.
I think summer starts in...
Oh, that's right. You're not from Texas. Texas spring starts in 2 weeks. Literally, like February 14th is like when you plant potatoes and the ground is thawed.
Not according to the solar calendar.
We'll still be frozen. It will still be ice on the yard.
Yeah.
It's spring.
Oh man. Well, I was thinking of doing one maybe a little sooner than June. But
isn't there a quarterly equinox?
Oh.
There's the longest day, the shortest day, but in between, isn't there something like that?
Okay, that'll be our homework. Is to come up with a date. And if it's just on the solstice, that's fine with me too. I have so many freaking things on my plate right now. It's absurd. So, but yes, let's do this. Love all the ideas. I have to go pick up my child in a few minutes. Any last kind of one word that stuck out to you this time around? Any little kernels from our time in the Cosmic Navel today?
Barbecue? Yeah, Sherry, I'm all about that. That sounds cool.
Yes, barbecue.
I'll point to that.
Point. Good. All
Magic.
right.
You can point to that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get going. You all, such a lovely way to spend my life.
I'll just end it with, you have to want to know what you don't want to know.
Yep, that's very true. Yes,
ma'am. Sherry, I am going to quote you, and that may just show up in our 100 Days of Creating community as a little quote.
Somebody, I should send it to you. Somebody actually 5 years ago made me a logo, with like these two hands and these eyes in the middle, and it said, "You have to want to know what you don't want to know."
Completely.
Sherry Suter. Because that's all I ever said.
Just one sentence. I
So-
post a link in YouTube in the private chat. Maybe I will talk about it next time.
Yes,
Very nice.
please.
Was the whole, if I could ask a quick question, was the whole you have to know what you don't want to know thing, was that like early in this conversation and I missed it? 'Cause I
Maybe
would love to- I don't want to rehash that, but you've got me super
it was
curious
just something that I used
back
to
it.
say when I first joined Bridges of Meaning, because I was like kind of like Mowgli coming out of the jungle, you know, and my words weren't working very well. So I was just saying things like, nothing is what it seems.
Mm.
You
So
have
is
to want
this
to know
where
what you don't want to know.
is that where the creative mojo is? Is that what you're saying? Is that
Well,
what
I
it
just think that's, you know, and then as I've been on this journey, you know, then you run across Meister Eckhart, who says, you know, you need to go astray. Okay? You have to go off the beaten path.
I got you.
in order
To
to
come
find-
back. Yeah, we did cover this a little bit earlier on, Dan. So go check it out. I got to run. Appreciate you all.
Great to see. Thank you,
See
Rigel.
It was great.
Thank you
Daniel,
for-
such a pleasure to have
It's a
you
pleasure.
on.
Thank you, Rigel. And Dan, everyone, just thank you
Nice to
so
meet you.
much. And Yofli, great. And Rigel and Sherry, great to finally have a chance to speak with you.
Really
today.
great to talk to you.
It was a
Daniel.
complete delight.
Hopefully we
So,
can do more of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Take
Absolutely.
care, friends.
Best, everyone. I'm going
Best
to run to
everyone.
work
Good
myself.
night.
Best
Good
day now. Thank you, Rigel. It was great. I'm going to run to work. All the
All right,
best.
sounds good.
All the best, my friend.